select should be unique and significant to you so that you can locate it in the system. We will create a new expense report named March 2020 Recruiting Expenses. The default currency is US dollars for US employees. The dates are March 1st to March 31st. The business purpose, spring recruiting expenses for March 2020. Under report type, there are two types: expense report and travel advance request. Select expense report. Supervisor, select your supervisor in the searchable field by typing your supervisor's name. The origin and destination can be provided. It can be omitted if not applicable. We will now add expenses and receipts to this report. Tap the Save box in the right corner and the Add Expense screen appears. The Add Expense screen gives you a couple of options. By default, we will select the blue Create New field in the upper left corner of the panel. The Add Expense screen can also be accessed by typing the blue plus button in a circle in the center of the screen. Tap the blue Create New field and expense tiles will appear. Find the expense type you want. Notice that some tiles have arrows, which means there are subcategories below. If you do not see what you are looking for, it might be a subcategory. Christian will now demonstrate how to add different expense types and receipts to a report.
Thank you, Leslie. For our first example, let's start with meals. And you find the meals tile. You can start entering the information if you would like, but I personally like to just add the receipt first. So you would just scroll down and here's where you add any attachments. Click on Add Attachments. I have already scanned receipts and saved them to my computer. I also already uploaded them to my Chrome River account. As you can see, here's everything I have in Chrome River, which is called your receipt gallery. You may also take pictures of your receipts from your phone using the application. While on your phone, you just have access to your pictures, upload the pictures to your Chrome River app, and they will appear here instantly. All you would have to do is just click on each one or open it and add it in this corner right here. You can also access your computer and upload the attachment. Here's my meal receipts. And it's now uploaded. Once here, again, if you would like to view it, just click on it, zoom in. Here's the itemized, here's the total with tip, $57.82. Since these are March expenses, for our example, we're just going to use March dates. So this took place on March 3rd. We spent $57.82. The business purpose was lunch during recruitment. The description is optional and the merchant is optional. Here's your allocation. Here you can search for the account and budget either by name or by number. you can see it shows your history or my history. What we need here is the identifier. Our GL structure is set up with the first number in the account being the fund, which is unrestricted, restricted, pharmacy, Vancouver, etc., which shows up underneath the description. The next 6 numbers are the identifier, which is what we would use here. And the last 5 numbers in the account are always the object code, which were usually the numbers on top of the columns on the old expense report. In Chrome River, the object code is linked to the tiles by the expense. So we don't need to do that here. We don't need to worry about the object code. It's just the middle 6 numbers, which is the identifier. So just look over what you've entered. If everything seems okay, just click Save. We have now entered our first expense. For our next example, let's do hotels. Again, I like to start by attaching the receipt. So let's choose the receipt from our gallery. Total is $477.13. When choosing from your receipt gallery, Chrome River sometimes fills in the information for you. So you always want to make sure that it's picking up the correct information. If it's incorrect, you can always edit. So here's the tile. You just want to make sure Chrome River knew it was a hotel, it was correct, but if you need to change it, just click on it. The date, obviously it was an older receipt, but we're choosing March 13th. The spent amount is correct. The business purpose was hotel stay during recruitment. The description is optional. The check-in date, March 13th through March 15th. The allocation always defaults to what you used in your prior expense. For all of our examples, I will be using our department's budget, which is the accounting department 067104. So I will leave that. My receipt to attach, just take a look over everything. Here now you have another option to itemize. All hotel bills must be itemized, but if you forget and choose save, it's okay. Hit save, and you see you will not be able to submit. You have to itemize all hotel receipts. So let's just click itemize. If your hotel bill is all for hotel and lodging, then just click the hotel and lodging tile, and you can put the whole amount in here. But for our example, we spent $384.24 in hotels. The business purpose is correct. The description is optional. The allocation is what I want it to be. Click Save. And as you see, we have $92.89 remaining, which is what I spent on room service. So let's click Meals. Spent $92.89. Business purpose, meals during hotel stay. Your description is optional. Merchant is optional. Again, since the receipt was chosen from our receipt gallery, it chose that somewhere on the receipt, but you can change that. The allocation is correct. Click Save. And now your hotel receipt is included in your expenses. For our next example, I know many of you are probably thinking, where are the other expenses we might use? Are there more tiles? Like Leslie said, in some you might see little arrows towards the bottom of each tile, which shows you more tiles, like a subcategory. But if you don't see the expenses in any of these tiles, just always look in miscellaneous. So for our next example, I'm going to choose one in miscellaneous. I have a receipt for supplies other, which is object code 56117. In this example, I will show you how to change the currency and how to search the expense that's not listed on the tiles. So choose miscellaneous other. I would like to attach a receipt first. This is a Roxton receipt. Let's change the date. This expense took place on March 30th. It was $4.99 British pounds, where it says USD. Just change the currency. British pounds is GBP. Just find the currency you're looking for. And automatically the exchange rate pops up and gives you what you should be paid out in US dollars. The exchange rate is always dependent on the date. So as soon as you change the date, the exchange rate will change if it has changed, and we'll give you a different US amount. So you don't have to worry about ever looking or searching for the exchange rate. This automatically will update for you. Business purpose, again, this was supplies other. For this, let's say we needed cleaning supplies during Scout in Roxton. My description, spilled coffee on my stuff. Merchant, I believe it was Banbury. Miscellaneous expense object code. Here's where you select any object code that is not listed in the tiles. For us, it was supplies other. The allocation remains the same. The receipt is attached. Look over anything you've entered. If all is correct, hit save. And we're good. After changing your exchange rate, not exchange rate, your currency, for your next expenses, you always want to make sure you keep an eye on that, because for some reason, just like the allocation, it always defaults to what you used in your prior expense. So if you tend to switch back and forth in currencies or allocations, you always just want to make sure you keep an eye on that and are using the correct allocation or currency. For our next example, I will go into mileage, which is under ground transportation, mileage. For our first example, I will choose March 14th. You can find the amount that was spent. Description, let's say we had a conference at the Prudential Center in Newark. Here you click the calculate mileage. Let's say we left from Teaneck campus or the Teaneck office to Prudential Center and back to the office. Now here I have it because it's in my history, but you can always type in the actual address you left from to the actual address, or place if it's a big place or popular, it would pop up, but you can always search. For me, it's already there because it's in my history. So just click Save Trip. The allocation is correct. No attachments are needed. The Google Map actually will attach itself to this expense. Save. And we're good. I will show another example with mileage. Let's say the next weekend, we had a meeting again in Newark. Calculate the mileage. Again, we're leaving from the office to Prudential Center and back to the office. Save trip. Here, what I want to show is if you actually spent less miles, you found a better route to take, then you want to edit this. Instead of 40 miles, let's say you only used 32 miles. Underneath will show what was originally calculated. Here will show what you've input. Click Save. And that's okay. For the next example, again, mileage. This time, let's say we had to spend more than what Google Maps suggested. Let's use another date, March 28th. A follow-up meeting in Newark. Calculate your mileage. Again, left from the TNEC office to Prudential, back to the office. Save the trip. Now, let's say for some reason there was a detour and there was construction on the highway. And for instead of 40 miles, you've used 55 miles. Enter that. Hit save. And now this message comes up. Here it's asking for an explanation as to why you've exceeded what Google Maps suggested and calculated. So here you just write in an explanation. Again, when many of these messages pop up, you always want to try to be as detailed in your explanations, so whoever reviews it won't have to follow up with you either for more support or a more detailed explanation. This will actually be attached to whoever reviews it and approves it. So you always want to be detailed when you explain. And we're done with mileage. As you noticed in these examples, I did not deduct commuting mileage. I've always left from our TNEC office to the destination and back to the office. But if you ever leave from your home or from another destination to another destination and back, you must deduct your mileage as you would normally before, as per FDU policy. In that case, let me just edit one. While you're calculating your mileage, you would just add another destination. You could put your home address here, which I won't. You know, any stops you made, you can always add an extra destination. And then in this field, you would just be able to less your normal commute. So that's pretty much it. So we are done entering our expenses. You can always look over and click on each expense if you would like to review. Let's submit. Another screen pops up for confirmation. Click submit. And your report is now submitted. Back to the home screen. And as you see now, we have one expense report that has been submitted. I will show you how to actually, some of the options and features that you have after submitting a report. So just click on submitted reports. Here you would see all the reports you've submitted. I only have one. Just click on it. You can see the cover page. You have options to either open or recall your expense report. For some reason, let's say you forgot to enter an expense or disagree with an amount or realize that you've entered something that you've entered before, you can always recall the report before someone else approves it. And there's three buttons here. You can track it and view as PDF. There are different ways to view as PDF. As you can see, cover page, full report with notes and receipts, full report with just receipts, and just the receipts. To not go into that, I'll let you explore that on your own. But the good thing about PDFs is that you may save your reports offline. You may also print, if you would like, the reports on hard copy. For tracking, just click on tracking. Click on the expense. Here you will see the routing status of your report. No more worries of where it could be, who has it, or if it's lost, because now you can track it and see exactly where it is. If you click on each step, you will see step 1 is your supervisor. Step 2 is the budget officer. Step 3 is the finance department, someone who reviews the expense report once it reaches the accounting department. Step 4, accounts payable. And once they process, step 5 is complete. So I think this is a nice feature to have once you submit your report, along with the others. Again, if you wanted to just, after submitting, you can always just click, and again, I don't know if I forgot to go over the open, but just click open, and you have access again to see each expense that you've entered. Let's go back to the home screen. As you see here, I have one expense report that needs to be approved. So I will now go over how to approve and review as an approver. Before clicking on here, you may also receive email notifications if you would like, depending on your settings. So aside from just signing on to your account and just seeing, oh, you have 20 expense reports to review, you can always just set these settings on your notifications and be alerted, I guess, before you sign on. So let's click on the report. I only have one report to approve. Click, and here's the cover page. Here you have different options. You may return, approve, and if you click on these little dots, you will see open, track, and reassign. You also have the PDFs again, as you did when viewing your submitted report. To reassign, you can reassign the whole report to someone else that you would like to review. So in this case, someone else in our accounting department would be Carrie Thomas. And I would just include a note as to why I reassigned it to her. Sorry, I don't know if that just updated or actually reassigned to her. So let's open that. Okay, so it was not reassigned for some reason. I guess the site just needed to refresh itself. So if you wanted to reassign, just click on the person. You have to add a note so the note can be attached to the report. Again, for history purposes, the tracking, it's good to have a note. But again, if you don't want to reassign it, you don't have to. To reconcile, this is more of a checklist for yourself. So again, if there was, let's say, 10 expenses you had to review or 20, this is good to have. If you see, once I click reconcile, this little dot will be filled in. So you know that at least you checked it and approved it, and you can just, continue or get off and then come back to it later. At least you know you already reviewed it. You can also unreconcile it. Images or any receipts or any other support that you've attached to the expense, you may also view. You may return this one expense line item to the expense owner, and you may also adjust. The only adjustment you're allowed to make is the allocation. Now, if you don't agree with the account that they've used, you can always update that. If you do, just again for history and just to keep track of everything, this must be filled out in order to be attached to the report as to why it was changed. If you need to change the allocation, then you can either choose to notify the expense owner or not. If anything else needs to be changed or updated, then obviously you would just need to return the expense or the whole report. So I know it's a little confusing because here it's more of the whole report, return and approve. If you click into it, then here, once you click on the expense, each option is in reference to each one expense individually. So if you approve, then you just would click submit. If you want to return, then just click click return. And that's it. Leslie will now go into our next topic.
Thank you, Christian. There are two types of reports, expense reports and travel advance requests. The purpose of a travel advance is to provide travelers funds in advance of a trip. Advances are maintained in an open university receivable account. An advance is cleared by an expense report when the traveler returns from their trip. To request a travel advance, create a new expense report, plus the new field by your name on the right corner. Tap. In the first field, give the travel advance request a unique and meaningful name. We will create a $200 travel advance for an NAEP August conference in Boston. Name, NAEP Conference, August 2020 Travel Advance. The start date of our travel is August 18th. And the end is the 20th.
Leslie, and I can't change the US amount, correct?
No, that is correct. It's US dollars for US employees who are paid in US dollars, and our Canadian employees will be paid in Canadian dollars. So they will be able to change the currency. Yes, it's defaulted.
They can't change it. Yeah, it's default. Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, so now we need to provide a business purpose. And this is a required field. And you need to, because this is an advance, include sufficient information to support the amount that you are requesting. Enter NAEP conference registration fee. Report type. In this instance, we are asking for a travel advance request. We select our supervisor in the searchable field. And in this case, we do have an origin and destination. Origin is Teaneck and destination Boston. Next, tap the Save field and the Add Expense screen appears. Tap the blue Create New field and a Travel Advance Request tile appears. Tap it. It is this field where you will enter the amount of the travel advance. So use the spend field to enter the requested advance amount, which in our case is $200. Indicate the trip start date and end date, August 18th to August 20th. Supply some support information. In this instance, we're requesting a conference fee. And notice that the allocation is allocated to a defaulted university balance sheet account. For travel advances, this is the allocation. Next, attach support documentation if applicable. To save the report and then submit using the green submit box. So first you save and then you submit. Once the request is processed, the advance will appear as a negative number in your cash advance folder. As you can see, it's in the second in the panel labeled cash advance, and this is where you will see any cash advance you have been issued in this folder. Per FDU policy, after returning from a trip, the advanced funds must be accounted for by submitting an expense report. To demonstrate clearing a travel advance, we will use a system testing site.
Okay, right. This is why I can't, I apologize to everyone. I can't actually hit submit because I don't want to actually request a travel advance at this point. We will now go into the, yes, we will go into the testing site to show how to return an advance and how the advance would actually show up on your screen.
So this is our testing site, and once you have returned from your trip, you must clear your travel advance by submitting an expense report. To create a clearing expense report, tap the plus new field in the right corner of the navigation bar. Name your report. In this instance, it would be NAEP Conference, August 2020. The default currency for US employees is US dollars. The start date is August 18th.
Right, since supposedly this was to clear a travel advance, we're going to use actually prior dates because it supposedly already happened.
Well, you can put in future fields in that way, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. The business purpose is the NAEP Conference, August 2020. The report type is expense report because this is a clearing expense report. The supervisor, select your supervisor in the searchable field. And our origin is Teaneck and our destination, Boston. The next step is to add our expenses and receipts. Tap the Save box in the right corner. And the Add Expense screen appears. Notice there is a cash advance here that we have put in this testing site, indicating a negative $200. And we need to clear this advance using this expense report. We need to enter our trip expenses. In our example, this is a conference fee. Hit Create New. The conference fee option is a subcategory under Professional Development. There you see Conference Seminar 56400. Select. In our example, we got a discount and our actual fee was only $150. And to Christian's point, we have to, for expenses, you cannot use future dates. So for example, we're going to use April 1st, but obviously you would put in the date of the trip and not this date. The description is optional. We'll just fill in conference fee. And the allocation, we right now are using the accounting department expense code. And you would attach your receipt to the report. And hit save. The $150 expense has been added and allocated to the expense report. Unfortunately, the next step would be to add the negative $200 from the cash advance folder. But unfortunately, because we are using a testing site, we cannot demonstrate this. But when you are clearing your expense report, you would select the negative $200, which would then appear on the expense report. And at the bottom of the report, you would, if you're clearing the entire amount, you would not have to be, you would have a zero there. But in our case, the advance was for $200 and we spent $150, and we would need to reimburse the university the $50 of unspent funds. To do this, we need to add another expense to our report.
Right. So unfortunately here, because this is a testing site, we can actually hit save to show you exactly how it would look here. But essentially it's just $150 that you've actually spent. To clear out your travel advance would be the negative 200. You would click save. You would see negative 200 here. And you would owe FDU $50. As Sophie said, you would have to fill out another section, which is you go back, you would hit create new. And Leslie, what did you say? To click which one?
You would have to do the travel advance return tile. And if you read the blue field, it's only used if the full amount of the advance issued isn't spent. Here you would enter the remaining balance, the unused funds, save. Oh, you could put here unused travel advance. The allocation is the university open and receivable account, and you would save.
Right. So then this would be 150, the negative 200. And with this 50, you down here, you would have 0. And that's how you would clear out your advance if you didn't spend all of it.
Well, the important step, of course, is to reimburse the university the $50, Christian.
Right, which you can explain as well.
Yes, once you've cleared out your expense report and indicated the unused portion with this tile, you need to reimburse the university for the unused travel advance by forwarding a personal check to FDU's finance department. Include a printout of the expense report with this check. If the actual trip expenses had exceeded the advance, you would be reimbursed the difference. So in our example, if we had spent $300, we would be reimbursed $100. We will now return to the live site. The next topic. Oh, are you back? Yes?
Yes, sorry.
The next topic we will cover is settings. Tap the user icon on the far right corner of the navigation bar to access settings. Under settings, personal settings, this is the area you can link an alternative email address to your account. So if you would like to link your account to a personal email address, you can do so here and use both your FDU and your personal address to connect to this site. The next settings we will discuss is delegate settings. In delegate settings, you can assign a delegate. There are two types, delegates and approval delegates. Delegates can create expense reports for another person. For example, an admin reporting to a vice president might be assigned to be a delegate to the vice president. The admin can create expense reports for the vice president. When other users have authorized you to be a delegate, you will see their names under your name in the right corner under your name. A double person icon symbol appears when you are working on an expense report for someone other than yourself. To add the name of a person who can create an expense report for you, tap the plus button next to the new delegate field and type their name in the searchable text box. Remove the name by tapping the X. Approval delegates. An approval delegate can temporarily approve expense reports for a set period of time, like a vacation. The approval delegate has access through their personal screen and not the approver's screen. The field can be edited anytime. Only one person can be assigned to be an approval delegate. And Christian has selected me, but he can cancel it at any time. Notifications. The next setting topic is notifications. The system provides a variety of email notification options, such as receiving an email when a receipt is received, being notified when a payment is processed, or when a report has been returned or requires approval. Check the blue boxes next to the notifications you wish to receive and remove the check marks from those you do not want. Help Center. The Help Center can be accessed anytime you are working in the system and need assistance. The Help Center is a valuable tool with information and tutorials and is easily accessed by tapping the personal icon symbol and tapping Help. A searchable field is available to quickly locate help topics. Topics covered include getting started, creating a report, attaching email receipts, approving expenses, and system requirements. The Help Center menu, 3 bars on the left corner, lists many topics such as getting started, expenses, and mobile apps. Tapping on topics such as expenses displays different subjects such as receipts, warnings and violations, and returned reports. If you encounter a problem using the system, visit the Help Center, and in the majority of cases, you will find a solution. Christian will now open the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, Leslie. We are now done with the demonstration. We hope you found this useful and helpful. I will now open the chat box for anyone who has additional questions. We will do our best to answer as many as we can. As soon as you see the chat box available, or if you can't see it already, please feel free to submit your questions. Please give us a few seconds to receive your questions and prepare. Thank you. Okay. I'm receiving a few questions. One is, if we need additional signatures from other offices, how does another department sign the expense report? Again, you can reassign it if it's not included in your, every department, and actually it's all linked differently depending on how it's set up. Some people have more than, one supervisor, or, but it all depends on how you set it. It's all set up. But if you need an additional signature, you can always reassign it to someone else to approve. Tolls is one of the tiles under, I believe it's under ground transportation. There's a tile for tolls, and you just enter the amount and submit like any other expense report, just attach the receipt. Tolls, yes, it is its own separate entry and its own expense. How do we sign into Chrome River? I believe the actual link was actually emailed in the memo that was sent to the university for this session. That's the link that you actually need to copy and paste on your browser. Just paste it, and it should take you directly to an FDU webpage to sign in for Chrome River, and that's where we started off the presentation. You would just enter your FDU credentials, your FDU email, and your password. Can we download the app to our phones and add receipts as needed? Absolutely. The application to download is actually Chrome River. There's two applications. One is Chrome River, and the other one is, I think it's CR Snap or Chrome River Snap. The Snap is, I think it's more just for pictures. The Chrome River application actually allows you to take pictures live, or log in, and you would have to allow access for the app to access your phone, picture gallery. And then from there, just upload into your account. So first, you would just have to go to your app store, download the application Chrome River, which I believe is better than Snap. And then you would just log in using your FDU credentials. And from there, you can actually fill out a report through this application as well. So it's a pretty neat application. And yes, as soon as you take a picture of your receipts, and as long as you have them saved on your phone, you can always just upload them to your Chrome River account whenever you have a chance. Or you can actually open your Chrome River application and take the picture while your application is open. Leslie, is there anything else you want to?
Yes. Is there anything else I want to say about loading up apps?
No, not about that. Any other questions?
Well, I would just emphasize that this is new technology, and everyone learns at different rates. Some of us will want to do this quickly and easily, and it all makes sense, and others may have to practice a little bit, but please practice. You can always delete anything that you're working on. It's very simple. Try entering an expense report, adding an attachment. If you make a mistake, or if it's just practice, it'll show up, and once you access it, you can delete the report and start all over again. So in a few tries, some of us will probably learn quicker than others, but overall it's pretty intuitive. And I hope, people who may struggle a little bit with this, just feel free to make mistakes and delete anything that you feel isn't properly inputted. Practice makes perfect.
Yes. Okay. Direct deposits. Yes. Right now, we're actually hoping that anyone who has to submit an expense report log in and definitely start using the site. You can definitely fill out the expense reports if you have the receipts, if you have copy of receipts, as long as nothing was left in the office. If you have anything, any backup or support, you may start submitting expense reports. If you want to get paid as soon as possible, then you actually need to go on WebAdvisor. I think there was another memo in regards to that, electronic payments, where you would go to WebAdvisor and actually log into your account and fill in your personal information, account number, routing number, etc.
Yes, once you fill in that information on WebAdvisor, your funds, your reimbursement amount will be directly deposited into your account, and you will not receive a check. The university right now, as everyone knows, cannot process checks.
Right,
So
and going forward, we will not continue with the paper forms. This is the new way we will be reviewing expense reports going forward, except for the ones that were left at the office and have already been submitted. Okay, someone's asking how to scan receipts individually. Once you scan a document, it would be, you can save it however you would like. Usually people save it as a PDF and then save it on their computer. That's how I was able to access my receipts. I just uploaded from my computer, or some of these I actually, when I had it uploaded, I've already uploaded it to my Chrome River account, which was my receipt gallery. So that's how I had access to it right away. But yeah, you have to scan, or you can take a picture of it. If you don't have a scanner, take a picture of it and email it to your account. Or again, just sign into your application and upload the receipts. If there's a lot of receipts, someone's asking, I have many gasoline receipts, how do I scan individually? You can scan them individually if you would like, and attach several documents to the one gasoline expense that you would create. Or you can, like you did in the past with the older expense reports, just tape a few on one page. Scan that one page and use that page as all the little receipts can be taped on to one page, and then just scan that. Again, the review is going to be the same as it was before. They are going to look through all the images. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to run a tape of all these little receipts that are attached. So the approval process is going to be the same as far as reviewing. But how you scan things and how you want them to appear on your report is up to you. Where will this presentation be located for review? This has been recorded. I was a little late to click on the record button. I have to go back to see exactly, but I think we only missed like the introduction. I believe we're going to email out the actual link to be able to listen and view this recording whenever you like. I'm pretty sure we will do that soon. How do you approve a dollar amount less than submitted in an expense report? Again, if something doesn't seem right and something needs to be changed, or you don't want to approve something, then you must return it back to the expense owner. And when you do, there's always a note or an explanation or reason as to why they need to look over the report again. What do you do when no receipt is available or lost? Okay, so here, if you don't attach something, a message will pop up as soon as you hit save, and an explanation will be mandatory. So just like prior, like the paper old expense reports, if you don't submit a receipt, you have to explain why. And again, it's up to the approver and the reviewer if your response is acceptable. Okay, so if you are the supervisor and you approve, yes, it will automatically go to the next step, which in my case, I guess, in my account would be the budget officer. And then once he approves it, it will go to the next step automatically. There's nothing else you have to do once you approve your part. Yes, we will email a way to access this training. Once we are done, we will look into how to send this out to everyone. Accounts payable is no longer cutting checks. Old expense reports are no longer being taken unless, again, if they're left at the office for some reason. We will review once we get back. Who knows when that will be right now, but this is the new way of going forward and to submit and review reports. Restricted accounts, yes, it is available. Again, once you type in the account number, it will be underneath the description. If there are any other authorizations needed, it would be linked to each account. Leslie,
Yes.
older travel advances, would they be cleared here? Would they be cleared on Chrome River?
No, we cannot clear older travel advances. The Chrome River platform is only for travel advances that have been issued through the platform. You have brought up a point that will need to be resolved. And because I have the responsibility of clearing travel advances, the old travel advances, there's a variety of ones. Some of them are for travel that never occurred, etc. Returned funds will have to be handled. I will personally be contacting everyone with an old open travel advance and discussing one-on-one how to clear these advances. Right now, of course, we're in a system where we're trying to get all the expenses and reimbursements online, but there are things like old travel advances that we will need to address. And again, you are free to send me an email if you are concerned or want to talk to me about it. It's lesliek@fdu.edu. Anything else, Christian?
Saul actually said that a good link to remember, it's an easier link, a login page, is expensereport.fdu.edu.
Thank you, Saul.
So instead of that long link that was emailed, and if you're trying to remember what link to actually type in to log in, it's expensereport.fdu.edu. Thank you, Saul. It's much easier to remember.
And I would like to personally thank Saul because he was really incredible at getting this platform up and running. Thank you, Saul.
Yes. Credit cards, T cards.
Yes.
Yes. You want to take that one, Leslie?
Sure. Certain individuals within the university do have T cards and travel cards, and those going forward on the Chrome River platform, the expenses on those T cards will be downloaded, and you can clear them by creating an expense report, as we demonstrated here. But instead of linking to the travel advance, you'll be linking to the funds that are in your credit card folder.
Yes, and in that T card folder, you would just, the same as the advance, you would have to clear out those expenses by adding an expense to it.
So going
And again,
forward, oh, I'm sorry, Christian, complete your thought.
No, same thing as filing an expense report. You would just, clear out the advance, the T card expense. You would have to add a receipt and so forth. But yes, I believe the T card will go in effect. I think it has for April.
Yes, all of your April charges will now be downloaded directly into your account. So as you expend expenses on your T card, the bank will directly download the expenses on those cards into your credit card wallet, and you are responsible for clearing them with an expense report, which would involve putting in the amount and allocating it to an expense code. So the old system
Yes.
that we have been using—
I'm not sure how often it will be exported into their Chrome River account. I'm not sure if it's once a week or daily automatically, but yes, your expenses starting April will show up in your account.
and you will electronically clear them.
Leslie,
Yes.
if someone does not use the full amount of their advance travel request fee, rather than submitting a personal check to reimburse the university, can that amount be deducted when they are reimbursed from their expense report?
That is not FDU policy presently. These are advanced funds, and generally that is not acceptable. You must clear an advance out for the trip, meaning the university has advanced funds for a specific reason. So the answer is no. Once you return from the purpose for receiving an advance, you must account for the funds. It's not an open-ended advance to use for other purposes.
Thank you. What about deferred charges on the T card for 2021?
Pardon? Oh, okay, you're asking, I want to make sure I understand this, because this is an important point. As you know, we are approaching the end of the fiscal year. Any expenses for the new fiscal year that are charged, this means our new fiscal year starts July 1st, must be highlighted and assigned to the new fiscal year. And right now, I haven't discussed this with my supervisor, but I should be notified about any expenses for the new fiscal year. Anything that you have paid for now, meaning the next few months, up until June 30th, for expenses for next fiscal, which is fiscal year 21, need to be highlighted and assigned or allocated to the new fiscal year. So that's an important point. In general, we do not encourage any spending right now for the new fiscal year, but there may be some extenuating circumstances. But please do not
for
spend.
the T card, yeah.
Do not spend for next fiscal year unless your supervisor has approved it.
Hmm. I'm not sure also if when you're entering the expense report to clear the T card, right there, I believe you would actually use the dates that the trip will actually take place. And I think that's a way for us to, when we export these files, to be able to track what's old year and what's new year. From what I remember, I think that's the way it's supposed to be handled, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think we should say that this is an important question, and we have rushed a bit to get this platform running, to be online. I expect we'll offer some guidance as far as the procedures to use for the fiscal year closing.
Yes. So again, we can't answer all the questions that are being submitted. We will look over anything we can. And if we find that some of these questions are, I guess, either repetitive that we did not answer or any important questions that we could not get to, then I think we will set up something to send out to the university, maybe a fax or a Q&A, and have it, I guess, available for everyone. So, let me see if I can if I see any other questions, if I can answer them quickly. Leslie,
Yes.
is there something set up in the routing status, or I guess the steps for the board of chair to approve?
A chair.
The board,
Well,
I guess, or
pardon?
for like the board, I guess. I don't know if you are.
Pardon, a chair? I don't
Board chair
understand
must,
the question.
if the board chair is supposed to approve, is that automatically linked, or is that something that has to be reassigned as a delegate? Again, yeah, this is kind of a high, I guess, for someone in the higher end. This is a question that we will have to answer, I guess, personally.
Yes, there are mechanisms to, we are aware of certain expense reports that need approval. And there are procedures to handle that situation. I'm not quite sure how it's set up in Chrome River, and we need to make sure we explain it properly, Christian.
Yes. Okay, so I think it's been a little bit over an hour. So I think our time is up. We apologize if we did not get to your questions. We will look at them over, and again, if we see anything that's that brings up a good point, or that were a question that was asked more than once, we will try to send something out to the university. Again, if you have any expense reports, please feel free to now log in and begin submitting. As long as you have receipts or copy of receipts, you're good to go. Don't forget to also go on WebAdvisor. Please try to find that email. I don't have that right in front of me, but I believe it was electronic payments was the subject of how to go on WebAdvisor to put in your personal banking information to receive these direct deposits. We are not sending checks. So if everything gets approved, once you submit an expense report, you will get a direct deposit to your account if you are set up completely. Again, if you are not, if you don't have anything to submit, just try logging on, get familiar with the site. As Leslie said, if you come across anything that's confusing, the Help Center answers many, many questions, and in some, they actually have great tutorials. So for now, we now conclude the Chrome River session. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.
Stay safe.
Goodbye.